Da, 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 da. Da, da, da. Dun, 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 dun. Bow, wow, bow, 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 bow. That's right, everybody. Big Daddy's back. I've been working on the library a lot lately, trying to get it done. And I've made some incredibly good headway over the last few days. I have been feeling manically motivated. This is the arts section. You can pause if you're truly interested and dig a little deeper. Wagner. And I have from obscure and odd to rare and more. And I just, ever since I was a little kid, I wanted to have my own library that had the kind of books that I'm interested in. That book of Maryland is by Norman Mailer. It came out of a very large estate a few weeks ago. I had the pleasure of attending up in Fairlawn. My autistic son Alexander accompanied me. And I did secure a copy of, I'm going to have to move this over here. And my Hannibal Lecter books are in frame. That's what my brothers called them. They're like, man, you got some Hannibal Lecter shit going, Ed. What the hell are you doing? But they're really quite beautiful, and that is what today's episode was going to be about, was finely bound books, which is what this is. I've got my little area set up now, somewhat, with just some of what I'm into. And this is a lovely copy of the Christmas books in hard times by Dickens. There's Mr. Fezziwig's ball. Oh Lord, it looks lovely under the mistletoe. Christmas books in hard times by Charles Dickens with 77 illustrations. This is the London Chapman and Hall limited edition from 1891. Very well put together book. Well worth the 2.5 packs of cigarettes it costed me, approximately. We've got A Christmas Carol, The Chimes, The Cricket on the Hearth, and The Battle of Life, followed by The Haunted Man and Hard Times. The house was as beautiful as the book, I assure you. And there were some other interesting finds there. The house was amazing, though. Probably one of the larger I've had the privilege of observing. These came from an estate this weekend, and The Anatomy of the Brain and Nerves, The Morbid Anatomy of the Human Brain, Engravings of the Brain and Nerves, Surgery of the Head, Surgical Diseases of the Spinal Cord and Membranes, Selected Writings of John Hewlings Jackson, Volumes 1 and 2, and The Functions of the Brain by David Ferrier. Can you guess what the patriarch of this family did for a living? I'll give you a hint. He was a neurosurgeon. So I also got selected papers on neurosurgery and a bibliography of the writings of Harvey Cushing. So I figured this would be a little light reading come some cold December night when I feel like it. I also got a nice book of by the I forget what his name was. McCabe. It was McCabe, right? Yep, there it is. It's on the spine. John McCabe. The Grand Hotel in Mackinac Island. I went there with my wife and sister-in-law and brother-in-law. And we had a good time one October. A little Voltaire. And A Case of Need by Michael Crichton. And I like Michael Crichton a lot. And right next to my Brainiac books, I got some Calvin and Hobbes. And I also picked up these lovelies. I got Thomas Jefferson, Grant, Roosevelt. And what was the? Oh yes. Lincoln. And that Lincoln came from another collection at the beginning of 2020. That's another good one. I can't wait to read. Actually, this is what is known as the Easton Press editions, and they're quite lovely. As you can see, they are not faux leather, they are leather, illustrated through and through, it looks like, yes. In color. Honest Abe. Beautiful, beautiful book. I love the smell too. It's just like, you know, when I was 15 and my Uncle Ranford said, Eddie, you gotta open up that Avengers #4 and smell that centerfold. It's like a fine wine, nephew. And you know what? He was absolutely right. It is like a fine wine. An intoxicatingly fine wine. So I also have some art books up here. Dr. Zhivago. There's The Good Earth by Pearlbuck, which I read every year. I'm in the process of reading online and was hoping to get another chapter up tonight. We'll see. But I just wanted to let it be seen that I have made headway. Some Faulkner. The Dream of Red Mansions. The dentist I had growing up. His World War II collection, for the most part. Which I found out quite by accident. And I just love the Schiffer military editions. They are absolutely stunning. Here's Beware of the Thunderbolt. The Ragged Irregulars of Basinborn. Possum Clover and Hades. As well as lots and lots of I love biographies and I like militaria some. I think I like the crime stuff a little better. Got a nice copy of Papa Hemingway this weekend. This weekend was a lot more about reissues, I think. Like those leather-bound that I showed you. Not really like hardcore collectible first editions. They were just beautiful, beautiful leather-bound books. Now these, though, are a little more rare because they're doctor books. So, you know, there's not like a ton of these floating around, but, you know, some doctor might want them. You know, I'll use them in a trade possibly or a sale down the road. You know, they're not going to put the kids through college, as they say, but they're beautiful. And I do mean beautiful. The morbid anatomy of the human brain in particular. This was a beautiful book, and the first one I decided to buy this weekend whenever these went up. And it says 1984. So it's not particularly old either. It is, though, a re-edition of a book from 1826. And there are illustrations throughout. That some are in color, some are in black and white. I believe, though, that most of this one was color, which was why I wanted it. It was a pretty book to look at. Not that I'll ever, you know, do any neurosurgery, but it's definitely a fascinating subject. So, you know, there you go. It is what it is. And, yeah, I like learning things, you know? I like learning things. And here we go, Old Possum's Book of Practical Cats by T.S. Eliot. I picked up Wired by Bob Woodward as well this weekend. And Jimmy Breslin, The Gang That Couldn't Shoot Straight, and Contact by Carl Sagan. Also got a lovely picture book of Ohio. My copies of Mouse. These were in my former dentist's collection. You know, I learned something new with these. Check these out. There's Mouse by Art Spiegelman. A Survivor's Tale. My Father Bleeds History. And Art Spiegelman's Mouse. A Survivor's Tale. And Here My Troubles Began. And hardcover and softcover comic book. And I believe, from what I can tell, it is a book about the Holocaust told with mice and rats and cats. And it's pretty wild. I'm really looking forward to just spending a day and reading the entire series. It's really quite fascinating. And it's beautifully, beautifully done. And I'd never heard of this. And I've been in comic books for, oh my lord, years and years. At this point, 48. I think I got my first comic when I was 8, so 40 years. This is another nice one that I got to rediscover. Dante. And Perdicio. Inferno. And yes, it is the illustrated. And oh, I just love it. I love the way this book looks. You know, I've tried to read it a couple times, you know. It's very, very before my time. It's also extremely dark. You will have nightmares, I guarantee it. If you are prone to dreaming, such as I am. You can tell just by the illustrations that I'm landing on. It's very dark. And it inspired me for sure with my own painting. There's a real famous one right there. And altogether a wonderful book. I encourage you to check it out. The engravings by Gustav Doré. And you can find lovely editions of this particular book like crazy. It's a very old book that has been reproduced again and again and again and again and again. Some Oscar Wilde. I started out reading and writing these detective stories when I was a kid, a young writer. And I'm going to read this one too. I'm really excited. This is A.A. Milne that did another of my favorites from my very early years. Winnie the Pooh, Winnie the Pooh. This is the Red House Mystery. One of the 3 best mystery stories of all time. Now, come on. That is a rave review. Okay. A minor classic. So there you go. The Red House Mystery. This was from another really beautiful estate I had the pleasure of touring over in the Hills and Dales area, I believe, if I'm not mistaken. And I got a nice softcover Hobbit. I'm going to put together a couple of sets of these and give them out as gifts. I run across them all the time, and not always this particular printing, but and that, now that I think of that, it would be fun to make up a couple sets that don't go together, different printings of the 4 books. That is a funky idea. I kind of like that. And that's just my paperback stuff that I've been sorted down, I guess, into stuff that will kind of hang out in here with me whenever I'm feeling like I need to be inspired, or if I need a good read. I have a lot that I can go to. Stephen King's On Writing right there is a very important book. If you have never read it, it's about his life and how he became a writer. And if you're a young writer looking for inspiration, trying to find your individual muse that makes you pick up the pen, or the brush, or the pencil, or the charcoal, or whatever, and bleed a little on a surface, something from inside of you, well, then that's a good thing. And I think on that crazy heavy note, we're going to call it a night ski. I'll be back.